This presentation is over the appropriate use of technology in our schools. There are three kinds of appropriate ways to use technology. There's legal, ethical, and safe ways to use technology in our classrooms. Throughout this presentation, I will discuss the educator's role as well as the student's role to each of the appropriate ways to use technology. So to start off, we're going to look at the educator's role in the legal part of using technology. As an educator, you need to make sure you cite all of your work. You cannot take credit for work that you have picked up on the internet and had gotten it from somebody else. You have to cite that as a source. And if you use some sort of writing or a book, you have to then cite that as well. You can't summarize because that's plagiarizing. So when credit is due, you have to give the credit. The student's role for the legal side of it is that they have to cite all of their work as well. And there are online resources for students to be able to type in all of the information that is needed for them to be able to cite their work. They have to avoid plagiarism, and I know a lot of schools have a rule about plagiarizing. Summarizing is even plagiarizing. If the sentence structure is still the same, it's plagiarism, and it voids the copyright. So you have to teach your students how to not plagiarize and how to cite sources correctly, and show them how to find those sources online. Like sonofacitationmachine.com or .net, they do APA, MLA format, any kind of format you need so that you know how to cite your sources correctly. And then a big issue legally is the cyberbullying, and I will touch base on that in more detail in just a little bit. So the second part we're going to move on to is the ethical use of technology. As educators, you need to make sure that you use your computer for educational purposes only. This means that you don't want to be online and be on a social network. You don't want to be shopping online. You need to use the computer to look up educational information. You can use it to be on Pinterest. I know some schools allow their teachers to use Pinterest because it is kind of considered an educational site, because a lot of teachers pull a lot of their new ideas and activities for their classrooms off of Pinterest. And I know our school allows our teachers to use Pinterest, and the first grade teachers that I work with, the activities they've pulled off there have helped our students tremendously. You need to make sure that you use it to build lesson plans, and you can use the internet to come up with those new cool creative ideas or new activities, like I said, with Pinterest. But avoid the online shopping and all the social networking while you are at work. And the next part is your presentation. You're going to be in front of the class a lot, and you're going to be presenting every day on a daily basis. So you need to make sure that all of your wording and all of your presentations itself are correct, and that they're proper, and you don't have any slang or bad words or anything like that. And you also yourself need to know the technology that you're using, and you need to keep up with the changing technology, because technology is growing at an exponential rate. And in order for we as educators, especially new educators coming in, we have to know the new technology in order to be able to use it, for one, but then be able to teach our students how to use it. So for the student side, we need to make sure that we handle the equipment properly. And I put this with ethics because I think it's kind of an ethical thing that you treat things with respect, and you keep them nice so that other people can use them. So you need to handle your equipment properly, which means the mouse stays on the table. We don't put our fingers and stuff all over the monitor, and we don't have food or drink or anything around the monitor. And like I said earlier with educators, you only use the computer for educational purposes. For students, they can be online to look up stuff for a project, but not to be on downloading music or playing games, unless they're educational, of course. Because I know our school, we do a thing called ScoopPad, and the kids are online. They do a lot of reading and math and skill work like that. So that's good. But some older students like to just get on the internet, kind of browse and social network. And as long as we have the firewalls and stuff up, it kind of limits students to what they can do. So, and we'll get to the internet safety part of that actually right now. So internet safety is very, very important. As an educator, we need to teach internet safety. And internet safety is learning how to keep your information private, how to protect yourself while you're on the internet, and make students aware of what can happen while they are on the internet and different possibilities that can happen if they give out too much information. Social networking is a big deal right now. Facebook and Twitter are the two biggest social networking sites. And students, we as educators, with our social networking, we need to keep things private. And even if we do add some of the students as friends, or coaches add their athletes as friends to kind of keep an eye on them, you need to make sure that you watch about which pictures you're posting and watch the posts that you put online. You need to make sure it's all appropriate. A good idea would be to have kind of a professional profile, to where your boss and your students and your parents see that, and then have a fun profile or your you profile to where all your friends and stuff are added on that one. And as always, you need to make sure that you don't put too much information on your social networking sites, because that leads to identity theft, and it's our responsibility as educators to make that known to our students. So for students, as I said, we have to teach them internet safety. The social networking is a big thing for young adults and for students in high school right now. I have seen a lot of Facebook profiles where they have every kind of information about them on the Facebook. So we need to teach students, do not put your birth date. You can put the month and the day, but do not put the year. Don't put your hometown. You can put the big city that's next to your hometown. Don't put where you work. Don't add people you do not know. And make sure that if you're talking to somebody, that you limit what you tell them. Don't tell them absolutely everything. So we need to bring it to our students' attention that identity theft can happen, and there's a lot of other things that can go wrong if you put too much information on the internet. So the next thing we're going to talk about is handling the equipment. Go into a little bit more detail as to how to handle the equipment in the ethical way. So, as stated before, make sure that it is used for educational purposes. There's no just scamming the internet and looking and browsing. So no food or drinks around the equipment, because water and pop and stuff and technology just doesn't mix. And then teach them how to properly use everything. So teach them how to use the keyboard with the proper positioning and where to put their hands. Make sure the mouse stays on the table, they're not slamming it and clicking it too hard. And teach them all the parts about the computer, how to turn it on, how to shut it off correctly, what the modem is, like the screen and everything. So I think it teaches them, if we teach them about the technology they are using, it helps them better understand it and handle it properly. Now, teaching internet safety. As stated before, when we teach students about the internet safety, we need to make sure that they know who they are talking to. Keep all of their information private. You don't want to let them know where to find you. And a good thing is to use your brain. This is especially good for your blogs and your posts that you put online. If you wouldn't say it or do it in public, you don't need to do it online. And there's a good website for more information about internet safety that I borrowed from our technology teacher at the school I work at, and then she also provided me with a video that is very educational on how to keep all of your posts and stuff private. So our next is the cyberbullying, and this goes with the legal issue or legal use of technology, and also it goes with the ethical part. Cyberbullying is mean texts, mean emails, rumors that are spread over the internet, Basically, anything done over the internet, very rude or harsh, intended for one person to hurt their feelings or upset them, that's cyberbullying. So, some examples of cyberbullying, as I said, are mean texts, rumors that are started, if there's embarrassing pictures that are posted of this person that are posted intentionally to hurt that person's feelings, or making a fake profile. And that one was new for me. I didn't realize that making a fake profile was cyberbullying, but it makes sense that you're lying to the person that you're talking to and everything's fake about you. So, um, now some effects of cyberbullying, some signs that you can see if your student is suffering from a cyberbully is depression. They're scared. They are very stressed out. You will start to see paranoia, especially when it comes to being on the computer and around the internet and around other people. Their grades will start to slip, and they may even act out and become violent. Just because they want to get revenge, they want to show people how much it hurts them, and then we have the worst case scenario of suicide, which is very sad that it gets that bad. There are ways to get help. You can have the student, or the student can document the bullying, say when it happened, where, what time, what was said, by who, provide as many details as possible. They need to report it to a trusted adult. That may be the principal, it may be you as a teacher, it may be a policeman in the community or their parents. But once it has been brought to your attention, it needs to be addressed and it needs to be taken to your principal or to the cops so that it can be taken care of. The student can block the bully and decide not to respond, kind of give the whole cold shoulder effect, but we all know that that's kind of hard to do, especially with girls when they get catty. And then they can also report the cyberbullying, and the website you can do that is wiredsafety.org. And on the handout that I have with this, I also provided another site that talks about cyberbullying and different ways to get help. So there's my presentation over the appropriate use of technology, and from the educator and the student standpoint, and kind of some details as to how to handle your technology and how to handle some cyberbullying that happens over the internet. I hope you enjoyed it.